One time. Hey. Howling at the moon. Howling at the moon. Howling at the moon. Running. Howling at the moon. Hey. Running.
So,
Hi, Tazz, otherwise known as Wolf.
that'd be me.
I'm John Madrigal, and I'm here for your interview. And we're going to talk about how you became such a grand artist known as Wolf.
All right, I'm down for this completely.
Awesome. So, let's talk about your adolescence, how you actually got to that point in your life. What accrued you? What creative things did you do as a kid? What were the things that brought you into wanting to rap and wanting to become such an artist?
All right, so I guess to start there, the biggest thing was actually the lack of music. My dad pretty much raised me a lot. My mom had a lot going on. She wasn't around as much as she wanted to be. She actually ended up giving up her parental rights when she was like 17. And at that point, I ended up with my dad a lot, and he was really big into football, you know? So he didn't really see the artistic side of life.
Yeah,
so I was
more of a sports jockey type of
right,
person. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You know, sports jockey, stats, the whole nine. So
Exactly.
I got burnt out on that real fast.
I can believe it.
I remember being in the 6th grade, and I heard a trumpet played live for the first time. And at that point, that's when I was like, I love music. So I got involved in the band. And it was a really big ordeal because I was in an inner city type school. You know what I mean?
I know that kind of thing. Public school. I actually joined the band in 7th grade, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
So with all that being stated, you know, being in the band in an inner city location, you know, you got picked on. I had black folks didn't like me. I had white folks didn't like me. And I'm here being mixed. Like, all right, so who the fuck do I kick it with?
Band people.
So yeah, I ended up getting into the band, and then through music, I was able to feel. I was able to get connections. I was able to release. And so with my adolescence, I had everything against me. But music helped me become, how do you say, centered. I was able to pull out that emotion that I otherwise had no release.
Absolutely, yeah. As an artist, in any standpoint, that it helps you focus and helps you just grounds you in so many different ways. And
Fucking cheers to that.
but I definitely see where you're coming from in that. So, in the sense that it grounded you and stuff like that, where from that absolutely started your journey with music. Where from there did it lead?
All right, so when I was, you know, playing the trumpet, I started to pick up other instruments. And then I realized hey, no, we're keeping this shit. This is the city. Motherfucking city. No, that's how you know, like, this is real. Like, we're out here right now. So, you know, being placed in a brass section with the trumpet, you know, that's high brass.
Oh yeah.
I had to figure out my armature a lot, and I learned really quickly trumpets carry the melody, but there's so many different parts to making music. I was curious. So I ended up picking up the baritone, the saxophone, the flute, the drums, the guitar, the piano. Like, I ended up picking up all of these different instruments because where I was from, you had like 7 people in band.
I know that.
And
That's
so
wild,
like, you got like 7 people, and these people become your best friends. And you know, once you get into something that you enjoy doing, you want to help out other people. So what I ended up learning was other instruments to help them practice. So now I'm not only playing trumpet, now I'm playing baritone or French horn or clarinet or saxophone or the drums. And I'm standing beside these people practicing their parts so that they could learn their shit.
Hell yeah.
And then I ended up learning their shit. So
Knowing
like
every instrument in every song. There you go. That's the way to roll in bands.
yeah, bro, like that was logic to me, and
But that's talent. That's
I
what
didn't
that
know
is.
that. I didn't know that at the time. I had no clue. I thought that everybody could do this. I just thought that, this shit's
Musical
easy.
talent.
You know what I'm saying? This is easy. Everybody can do this. It wasn't until I got to high school that I realized, no, that is not the case. That is not the case. So, yeah, as far as adolescence goes, I was introduced to Johnny Taylor. I was introduced to, back then, Tyrese. He was a musician. He wasn't an actor.
Yeah.
So, I had a lot of the soulfulness side of music, the blues and the jazz. I like, my last $2, I'm not gonna lose. Like, that was where that came from. Every Sunday, my dad would have us listen to blues and clean the house. If you woke up on Sunday and blues wasn't playing, somebody's in trouble. Like that's how that worked.
Hey, the blues are good. Soulful as could be.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing. And I'm not
B.B.
sure.
King is one of my favorites.
Yes.
B.B. King is one of my all-time favorite instrumental artists.
It's all good. All good.
So yeah. Tazz, so we left off where you were learning all kinds of instruments in high school.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into your college days.
Ooh. Before we get there, there's a very important detail about my high school experience that actually pushed me into music that I feel like I need to kind of get off my chest. It's actually, so when you learn about yourself, you typically do that in high school. So one of the big issues that I had was, I couldn't figure out where I fit in. I was that kid that was like, oh, well, if you're gonna square up, we're gonna fight. But I was also that kid that was like, I'm gonna run down the hallway like Naruto. You know what I mean? It was a really weird place for me to be. Black kids didn't like me. White kids didn't like me. The Mexicans loved me. So it put me in a really weird, social, awkward place. So I had to learn how to get along with everyone while also watching my back with everyone. And so what I ended up doing was I realized I was a really strong person because my dad never let me walk away from shit.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. So I actually ended up becoming the captain of the wrestling team because of my expertise.
Getting into sports after all.
Right. And then I ended up joining the football team my freshman year. And then I gave up on that, and then I joined the band because I was like, that was the only year I wasn't in band, was my freshman year. And I had more fun and I had more learning experiences than playing football. Like, I could run you over, I could hit you, but at the end of the day, I wasn't getting enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
So I ended up joining the band, becoming the drum major, while also becoming the captain of the wrestling team and captain of the defensive soccer team. So I was very tied in. We didn't have a dance team, which is something that irked me to no end, that we didn't have a dance team.
Right,
so
most high schools do.
I actually made a patent and I got signatures. I found 2 teachers, Heyman and Sheridan, that were willing to back me up on starting a dance team.
Awesome.
I had auditions at my school, and I'm telling you, dude, I was the Chris Brown of my school.
They sound like good teachers.
I had an audition, and I didn't know how it was gonna go. I had like 50, 60 kids show up, and I'm like, what do you say to that? Like, I've got room for 12, and I got 50, 60 kids show up. I didn't realize.
Man, it seems like there's a lot of talent there, and a lot of people that wanted to be on that dance team after that petition, man.
Dude, it happened, and like
Overnight.
overnight. Like, I walk into the audition room, which was our gymnasium at the time, and I was expecting like 5 kids.
Oh wow.
Like,
Yeah,
keep in mind, we're in the inner city.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Nobody
a lot.
does anything. And I made a movement, and I got 50, 60 kids. And now I'm sitting here like, is it me?
Quite possibly.
Because, like, no one else has done this. No one else has tried. And so, like, you know, with all that being stated, you know, I knew that I was a big deal. But that moment is when I started, quote unquote, Wolf was being born. I realized
that promotional feeling of
like I had a voice. I fought for it. I had people that were willing to back me up. That's when Wolf really started to show. I was no longer scared to speak my mind. I was no longer intimidated. I was prepared to go the distance. So, like, my high school experience, there's where Wolf came.
That's an amazing story, man. That just shows how much of a presence you had in that school.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it shows just so many more aspects of the person that you were in high school.
I would agree to that. I would definitely agree to that.
And yeah. All right. So college years, like what? Okay, so now that you moved from that into college, like where did you go? Like,
Let me pull.
where did you go from there to college? Like, where was the
College sucked for me, and everyone, you know, like, has their own version. But for me, it was horrible. It was horrible. Like, so
why is that?
Okay, like
Not a party person?
No, I am. I'm the guy that throws the parties. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like, but okay, so college for me, my senior year in high school, I ended up getting expelled. My senior year, I was supposed to graduate in December, caught senioritis, start fucking around with the wrong people, and just like lost it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, I ended up getting expelled and still graduating.
That's a good achievement.
No, it's called contacts.
Good...
I had people that vouched for me. Like,
good
okay, what are you going to do? I was the drum major, wrestling captain. I was the defense coordinator on the soccer team, captain of that. I had, like, A's and B's. I was a damn near honor student. I helped give this school stats. And so, like, when you really think about it behind the scenes, the whole reason I got expelled was because I didn't snitch.
There you go.
And so, like, I ended up...
The story of Tazz and the way he became more non-snitch.
No, dude, you got your ass whooped on my block, bro.
Exactly.
There's not an option.
Don't do that.
Like, you have loyalty, and then you have what everyone else is doing. I picked loyalty. And so my mom stepped in. My dad, you know, he did what he could. Rest in peace. But I ended up moving in with my mom, and we went to BFE. BFE to the fullest. I mean, like, no joke, dude. New Johnsonville.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's...
New Johnsonville, Tennessee. New Johnsonville, Tennessee.
Sounds like a small-ass city.
Oh, my God.
Not even a city.
Oh, my God. This table is longer than the fucking book. Like, seriously. And so, like, I go to New Johnsonville. My mom's like, you know, I got you out here. Get your shit together. I ended up running into the neighbors. I stopped music at this point to become a cage fighter because I was angry. I had hands. I knew how to fight. I learned I didn't know as much as I thought. And so I got in with Team Ready. Shout out to Chad Snyder, TC Coleman, Dylan Potvin, Kat, newest member. And we start cage fighting. And we became the city's new hope. Yet again, I'm in a leadership role. And we're promoting this place that no one's fucking heard of. And so, like, I ended up going to college with my mom as a psychology major, and she's sitting right next to me. So they're sitting here, you know what I mean? Like, that whole spill, it's intense.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, hey, Mom, did you study last night? She's like, you know I did. What'd you do? And I was like, I was with the squad. So she wouldn't let me cheat off her test, you know what I mean? Like, she was that mom. She was like mom in college, sitting next to me.
That's always fun as hell, man. That's always incredible.
So, like, yeah, college for me sucked. I was in a new place. I didn't have friends. They didn't like black folks out there. And, like, I was just this guy existing, cage fighting, and going to college. So, like, after college, I had such a shitty time that I was like, I'm not going to continue this. So I decided to enlist into the Marine Corps. I ended up enlisting into the Marine Corps. I get through boot camp. I come back home and I found a new version of myself. Yet again, I'm in a leadership role. The entire city is like treating me differently now. Now I got people that used to call me, you know, like, oh, you this, you'll never do that, you'll never be able to amount to this. These same people are shaking my hand, saying I'm proud of you. So I'm here confused. What? You were just tearing me down, and now you're looking at me like I'm some kind of hero?
Yeah. That's people, man. They think that people will sit there and take something and only come to it whenever it's successful.
I'm telling you, dude, it got to a point to where I started disliking people. I was like, man, I'll go out of my way to save you.
Yeah.
But then in the same respect, you'll go out of your way to tear me down until you figure out I can do something to benefit you.
Yeah.
How does that work?
That's rough. That's rough.
Oh, needless to say, like, those 2 weeks I was back home on leave, it definitely opened my eyes. It made me look at the world slightly different. I mean, obviously, I just got out of boot camp from the Marine Corps. I wasn't the same. I had a very different view on life. And now I have a very different view on people. Throughout all of that, dude, like, that's where Wolf was finalized. That's where I put my foot down. You're either with me or you're against me.
Yeah.
And I wanted only loyalty. So that's where Wolfgang Venom, Wolf being a leader, Gang being the group, Venom spread through. We spread leadership through groups. It's a metaphor.
Okay, that's actually really cool.
And then that's where Wolfgang became real.
So we were just talking about how Wolf came in the making based on you being in the Marine Corps. So you're in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, I was.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, Lord. So, like I said, you know, like I came home on my 2 weeks leave after getting out of boot camp, and I just had a very different view on life. It was almost to the point to where, like, it was unreal. Like, nothing was real. Everything was fabricated. People, I was able to see more through their shit. I was able to realize what I was doing instead of trying to do. And then I no longer gave a shit. It was all bad and good at the same time. Um, the Marine Corps for me was, everybody looks at Marines already different. So, like, I was not prepared. I wasn't. I should have never came home. I should have stayed my happy ass where the fuck I was. And the reason I say that is because, like, being a Marine and going through everything that I had to go through was unrealistic. I found myself in situations where I contemplated details that should have never been thought about. I ended up contemplating death all the time. It was miserable. It was horrible.
Did it help you in any way?
No.
Oh,
No,
wow.
no. I was a much better person without the Marine Corps. But the morals that the Marine Corps taught me were definitely valued. To a degree that it made me stronger, but it also made me weaker.
Yeah.
I did not value human life the way that I used to. And I think that's where my disconnect really started. I was depressed 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I was numb. I had no recollection of whether or not what I was doing was this real life or was it a dream. I couldn't differentiate the two. And so, and just like the moral compass of being in the situations I was in,
Yeah.
bro.
Without ridiculous.
Without going into details, like I felt like I lost my soul. That's what it felt like.
That's really unfortunate to hear, man. That's never a good experience when you have to go through those scenes.
I mean, I chose that path.
Absolutely. So after the Marine Corps, where did you go from there? Like,
so after the Marine Corps, at the time, I was engaged. She stuck with me through the entire enlistment, and I ended up coming to Cookeville because I was like, you know what? I'm done with this shit. I just lost my father. I need to come back home instead of being like a raging psychopath, pretty much. So I came home, but I had never lived in Cookeville, and that is where Wolfgang Venom had already been established. I already had numbers. I already had a team. So I came home with not knowing what I was coming home to. And so I came to Cookeville because that's what I knew. That's the person I was with. And I ended up getting an apartment fully furnished within 24 hours.
nice.
You know what I mean? Like, I just dropping fucking dollar after dollar. Like, it wasn't shit. And then when I came to Cookeville, after traveling and doing everything that I did, Cookeville became home. The people were decent. The connections were real. It was uncomparable.
It's nostalgic.
Good word. I like it.
Nostalgic as hell.
And so, like, I had been places. I had traveled to places. I had ultimately ran away from my demons just to find my demons in the mirror.
Yes.
And, like, it got hectic. But the people in Cookeville helped me become Tazz again. I wasn't a warrior anymore. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm sorry, I was in the right way. I didn't realize I did that.
So now that you're back in Cookeville, all the nostalgia is rebuilt with you, and you've got that foundation now for Wolf being reborn. Where does that lead you?
Since it's been an adventure. I've had time to do the family life. I've had time to do the post-traumatic stress, PTSD. I've had time to really gather myself as a human being, and I have a daughter now.
Oh wow! Such amazing.
life as overall,
Alright, we got a game plan for tonight.
not many people can say that they've walked these shoes and are still alive. You know, I've been to 42 funerals, dog.
Man,
And, you know,
that's
it's
harsh.
when you look at life from that point of view, it's really difficult to find yourself in an optimistic light. So, like, you know, I try my best not to look at life in a negative way. Like, you got to wake up today. There are people out there that didn't get that privilege.
That's true.
You know,
That's very true.
when you go wake up in the morning and you take your morning piss, there are people that don't have that option.
Positive attitude, always.
So, yeah, I try to look at it for what it is instead of what it isn't or what it would have been. Because if you look at it from a pessimistic point of view, like, you just fucked your whole day.
Exactly.
It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Like, now you're going to be shitty to this person, which is going to have a butterfly effect, and now you piss this guy off, and now he's going to go home and beat the shit out of his kids. Like, it's all bad.
Exactly.
Instead, why don't you just shake the next man's hand? Help him.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's passing something that's positive when it comes to either positive
it
energy
forward.
or anything, any way to help the world out in some sort of sense, or even help somebody stay out in somewhat other sense.
Dude, that's the way to be. That's the way to be.
Absolutely.
You know, instead of trying to tear somebody down because you don't feel good about yourself, why don't you actually look in the mirror? Are you the cause of your bullshit? Because everybody likes to point the finger. Everybody likes to not be responsible.
I agree.
Are we being children or adults at that point? Not many people can say that they took the adult path. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You got to learn to hold shit in and to be able to release things in the correct way.
So, with all that being stated, my music took a turn, really and truthfully. I lost my sergeant. He was in a motorcycle accident, to the point where, like, the motorcycle ended up dragging his tongue on the pavement in California. And when I got that news, it destroyed me. Like, I've been to many funerals, but that one hurt the most. And then I lost my brother Sky, and there was no justice at all. Now I got a grieving wife with kids who's never met his family, and when they went to the funeral, they want nothing to do with her. Like, that shit hurt.
Yeah.
I got a brother who don't have any justice. He was murdered and beat because he was black, and there was no justice. And this shit happened back to back. So I had two choices. I could isolate myself, or I could do music. And so my album, Politically Incorrect, is a reflection. Politically incorrect.
Politically incorrect.
Yes, sir.
Dive into it.
All right, so Politically Incorrect came about once I lost my sergeant, Najee Williams, and my brother, Sky Cantu Thomas. I hit a very depressive state, and I had no other option. It was either music or, like, that was it. That was it.
Music, that's it.
So, like, you've got poetry, you've got singing, you've got rapping, you've got emotion, you've got blending of genres, you've got pretty much anything as diverse as you can get, I did. And, like, this is just a sample. Like, I learned so much making this album that my next future projects are already going to be 10 times fold better.
That's great.
Like, I'm sitting on like 17. I'm ready to release my next album right now.
See, you're already ready for this, and that's what makes you you, right there. It's the fact that you're ready. You're Simplify. You got it.
Yeah, dude, like these 10, 12 tracks do not compare to the next ones. I will tell everybody that, you know, if you know me, you know Wolf, obviously you're gonna like Howling at the Moon.
Absolutely, and like Politically Incorrect, it hits people in a way that it radiates off people to where they can relate to every track, or at least one track in that album, you know.
At least one. I don't care who you are, what you do, what you like, you will like at least one song off that album. Period. There's no way around it. That's not me being cocky. That's just at least one, if not more.
Nigga.